Hello and welcome. What is long COVID? I'm Dr. Eric Bunge, and we're going to be taking a look at what actually causes these symptoms, three main causes, and how they affect our lives, and possible therapy options, even stuff we can do at home. As well, we're going to be looking at how certain photobiomodulation physical medicine options have been proven to help with these very same symptoms. As many as 11% of people who tested positive for COVID now have the symptoms of long COVID. This is affecting millions all around the world of all different ages. At the beginning, there was no consensus of how we should create a treatment plan for the cytokine storm and the fatigue and the damage that's been done. But now there is a diagnosis code, U09.9, and that allows folks to get a proper care plan. It creates the medical necessity for your doctor and your insurance company, and then they can assess and address your specific needs. But in general, we have three main causes of these symptoms: the cytokine storm, which leads to inflammation; stamina and strength. We have chronic fatigue. We can't regain our energy levels. And we have loss of function, which could be damage to whether it's why is our memory not working? Why do we lose our sense of smell or taste? As well, our breathing capacity might be limited now. And it's affected lives in many different ways, from concentration and at work and school to how we breathe well at night and get our oxygen levels back up, to levels of fatigue that affect our exercise and our recovery and our physical therapy. As well, people have had new things show up, like difficulty with hair and skin conditions. Diabetes has been exacerbated. It's affected mood, how we work in our student life. So there's a lot of things to be considered in our diagnosis, and a good history is where you get started. There could be some testing, some lab work. There's certainly nutritional status to be taken into consideration, and there's different signs that can add. All these come from a very specific cause, is how a virus works. We have the virus attack. We may or may not test positive, and this creates hypoxic damage. So if we think about our biology, how the cell enters a cell and then starts replicating itself. While it's replicating, it's using all the oxygen in the area. That's how cell metabolism works. We need oxygen to create energy from food. So it actually creates a hypoxic zone where there's not as much oxygen, which can affect all the cells in that region, not just the nerve cells, but the epithelial cells, that's our circulation, the glial cells, which protect the nerve cells, the fibroblasts that build collagen. All these are having trouble with their oxygen system, leading to what we call mitochondrial dysfunction, and then eventually some sort of damage. And that unresolved damage is the basis for our cytokine storm, because now we have the remaining damage create these little dead zones, which now have unresolved repair. Therefore, a cytokine storm is signaling our body to try to repair this and restore the function. Now, we have some targets for our therapy. For this unresolved damage, we want to try to reduce the oxidative stress on what we call cell regeneration. So we're going to have to feed and nourish these cells. We're going to have to remove the oxidative stress, and then with time, they're going to actually regenerate, and that's going to create restored function. So cell regeneration is truly our goal of our therapy, because it's going to allow us to overcome the damage caused by the attack. Now, with the mitochondrial dysfunction, of course, improved mitochondrial function in our energy systems, and we're going to talk a little bit about photobiomodulation and how that helps that, and that's simply the power of the sun. So adding some good, healthy, non-inflammatory foods full of what we call chromophores, letting them digest, and then going out into the sun will benefit your mitochondrial function. Last is this hypoxic damage, which could be deep. We might need to target. So we can target the brain tissue, that's the central nervous system. We can target the lungs, and we can certainly target the whole body for a systemic effect. So now we need to create a plan, and we take into account our current health status, and perhaps medications may help. Some counseling to help us work through our transition as we create our cell regeneration, which does take a few months. We're going to add physical therapy, especially for breathing. This physical medicine, this red light therapy I'm going to show you, something that we can do if we can't get into the sun. We certainly can now get a panel and get that same benefit at home. Nutrition, always let food be thy medicine. We need to start with a good foundation to prevent this oxidative stress and nourish the repair process. And then, as I said, it does take time. So I think we can do a lot of this at home, and the research into red light therapy and how it benefits these symptoms is quite clear. Let's turn the board over and take a look at that. So long COVID, I think it's more than a diagnosis code, U09.9, and I think we can do a lot at home, and this is basically a plan to do that. So we have our symptoms, our cytokine storm, the chronic inflammation. We have this lack of energy. Underlying that is the lack of mitochondrial function. And we believe we have some hypoxic damage in different areas that we can target specifically, or make sure that we're getting care to help in our recovery for the loss of function. So a good assessment is a great place to start. They're going to create a care plan just for you. Our goal is cell regeneration. That's going to help repair the hypoxic damage and get this function restored, all the different kinds of cells that are in there. And then that's going to improve our quality of life, and we're going to see less of these long COVID symptoms. So how do we target our therapy to improve these three causes? We're going to focus on cell regeneration. We're going to accomplish that by helping with cell oxidative stress, with good nutrition. We're going to help the energy levels by stimulating the mitochondria, providing energy to help the ion channels get nutrients in and waste out of the cells. We're going to be targeting systemically to improve our vasculature, and that benefit will help our deeper tissues, including targets in the nerves and the respiratory tissues. We'll see improvement in the circulation and the nerve tone. I'd like to emphasize that with our breathing exercises, we're going to be looking to improve the parasympathetic, the rest and digest tone of our body to help us repair better, get more oxygen in, to improve our outcomes. And our plan does take 1, 2, and 3 months, because there's many different kinds of cells here, but quite a bit of them will regenerate in 1, 2, or 3 months. Some can take a little bit longer to restore function, and there actually could be some functional loss. But in the meantime, we can restore all these great systems, and our well-being will improve, and we're looking to minimize the after effects of this long COVID period. So great nutrition. I highly emphasize plant-based meals. Lots of good supplements in there, B complex, extra B12, extra D3, some omega-3s, all those help with nerve regeneration and cell repair. For helping stimulate the mitochondria and the ion channels, with these nutrients in us, the sun does help stimulate mitochondrial function, including release nitric oxide, which helps increase our circulation. For deeper targets, if we do have deep tissue and breathing issues, or loss of function in the central nervous system, such as maybe memory or brain fog, there is laser sessions available at therapists all around the country, and we'll explain a little bit more about how that works here. But there's also these great panels. For some of us who can't get into the sun, these panels are made with medical grade sunlight. You can see this guy actually goes all the way through my thumb there, so that they penetrate very well. There's 4 different wavelengths, and these wavelengths are the ones that have been shown to help the mitochondria open up its function, producing ATP, getting nitric oxide to the circulatory system so it can revitalize. It helps reduce the oxidative stress within the cells and inflammation levels, and we definitely see where there's been damage that it can help it repair faster and restore function better. So we do have some options here: nutrition, some exercise, and some sun, and then there's panels if we need deeper tissue, we can't get into the sun. And combined, I think we can promote good cell regeneration. I want to emphasize with the red light panels, there is a difference between the health and beauty and what we call the medical grade ones. And we'll talk a little bit about the 5 stars and how these ones are more powerful, and they're collimated, so they reach deeper, and they have 4 wavelengths. And what's also really nice, when someone has systemic inflammation and very chronic fatigue, these panels, we can actually turn them down to a very low setting for the first few weeks as your body starts recovering at its own pace the mitochondrial function and the circulation and the ability to assimilate and use nutrients. So a better panel, like the red reactive, we're going to explain a little bit of those. That's what Doc B therapy is. The R15 is 15 great ways that we found to use these kind of panels. Now, you don't always have to use these. This is a very good one. Any kind of panel out there, the health and beauty ones, will certainly help with the mitochondrial function, the inflammation, and even a systemic benefit for heart damage. Preschool.com, that's where we're going to show some of these posture exercises, but if you look up Meek's posture position, that's a great one to do while you're relaxing in the sun. And then if you want to consult with me here somewhere in the Hilton Head or Savannah area. So our goal with this, adding this light therapy and this nutrition and our wellness plan, is we want to create repair and finally regeneration of a multitude of type of cells. Epithelial, that's the circulatory cells. The nerve cells and their little glial helper cells. The immune system, we need to energize that, as well as digestion. And collagen building cells, we need to build strength back. One thing, the power of sunlight and these wavelengths definitely does benefit cell inflammation, energy levels, and even helps with long-term damage. So, and with the hope that we can help all these different kinds of cells, I conclude our video. Thank you for tuning in. I know it's been a lot of information, symptoms, the causes, and some therapy options, introducing you to something new, the photobiomodulation, trying to encompass all the different types of care that might be appropriate for you has been a challenge, but I've enjoyed it, and I do have hope that we can find help for many out there with these basic symptoms, and with letting food be thy medicine, getting some good sun, some great breathing exercises. And I do look forward to soon creating a part 2 with answers to frequently asked questions, as well as some demonstrations and my own personal experience in helping treat long COVID. Thank you and best of luck.